Hi, it's me, Felix, your main host and the creator of this podcast. Now, this intro is a little bit different. If you normally listen to the podcast, you'll know that normally, right now, you'd be hearing a sort of 3 to 4 minute long synopsis of the episode that we're going to talk about. Well, for some unknown reason, I hate writing those synopses with a deep burning passion. So I have decided to make the executive decision to stop doing them. Chances are, if you're listening to this podcast, you know what the episode is. I'll give the title of the episode, like I have always done in the past, who wrote it and who directed it, and then leave it at that. If you need a refresher, there are Wikipedia synopses, but there's also, I believe there's a Hannibal wiki that gives really good, long, detailed synopses of the episodes. So, yeah, I'm going to stop doing them so that I don't make myself miserable every time I edit an episode. I apologise if you benefited from the synopses at the start. I know it can be helpful because we don't give a huge amount of context when we're actually into the podcast episode itself. But yeah, so thanks for enduring this frustrated ramble. I'm very tired. So let's just get on with the episode, shall we? Episode 11, Rôti, written by Steve Lightfoot, Brian Fuller, and Scott Nemefro, directed by Guillermo Navarro. Welcome to Fate and Circumstance, a Hannibal fan podcast with an autistic person and some other people about a thing. My name is Felix Fanfaron Fern, and I am your host, and these are my co-hosts.
Hi, I'm a co-host, and my name is Melisa Suzan.
Hi, I'm Shaira Bambi, and I can't breathe. Oh, God.
It's great, because you've explained what the problem is immediately. We're all a little bit under the weather.
I'm actually not bad.
All right, braggart.
Yeah. God.
For once.
God.
I'm actually going to start this episode with a little shout out and a thank you to one of our listeners, Barbara B, who reached out to me on Twitter with some information.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah, this is really good information because one of them is sort of a correction/assistance. I've mentioned before that I couldn't figure out why the Chesapeake Ripper is called the Chesapeake Ripper because the killings didn't happen in the Chesapeake Bay. However, Barbara has said specifically the Chesapeake estuary encompasses Virginia and Maryland, and Baltimore, Maryland, around there is where some of the murders happened. So that makes more sense now.
Yeah.
She also gave me a little factoid about this specific episode about Freddie Lowndes, which is that Brian Fuller said in an interview that he was thinking of Rebecca Brooks in regards to how Freddie's hair looks in this episode. I don't know if either of you know who Rebecca Brooks is.
Absolutely not going to Google right now in my office.
Do you remember the big News of the World phone scandal?
Oh, yeah, I do.
She was one of the main journalists during that and was arrested and on trial. And if you Google her and look at her hair, it is very Freddie Lowndes.
I mean, it's like Freddie Lowndes is giving I'm in my prime, my curls are tight, and so's my pussy. But these curls are low-key, a little bit
amazing.
I guess she's like a natural.
Oh yeah, it does give Rebecca Brooks.
Yeah. What was the scandal?
It was the big News of the World phone scandal, the phone hacking that went on for ages.
Yeah.
Where it turned out loads of journalists were hacking loads of celebrities and other people's phones. It went on in the courts for years. She was eventually arrested, but she was found not guilty, but it took 5 years or something.
I think I very loosely kind of back of my head recognized something about that, but I was probably...
It was the late 2000s.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was probably not at an age to be really paying that much attention.
You're your baby.
Yeah, your baby.
Sorry.
I was aware of it through osmosis because it was really big in the news at the time. You are baby.
Not that baby. I mean,
that means your baby.
Late 2000s. Well, I was in year 9, year 10 in 2009, 2010. So I must have been 14, 15, 16, around that age.
I'm not going to do maths. So
I can't be bothered to do maths right now.
you're just like, I was this old in this year, and I'm just like, I'm not getting a calculator out. I don't know. I'm too old now. I don't.
The only reason I know.
I must have been 2016 when I was 2008, since that's when I graduated school. So yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say the only reason I know is because I went into year 7 the year 2007, so it's very easy for me to be like, what year was I?
Yeah, you are a baby. In 2008, I graduated school.
Oh yeah, I was. You graduated school in 2008. I was 14.
I feel
13.
so old.
Oh.
So, what did you both think of the episode?
I really enjoyed it. It was a lot, but it was
I was
really
like,
fun.
yeah, enjoyed myself, but I felt like I was going fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's a heavy episode, and it's very kind of pulls at your heartstrings a bit. Things are getting very hard for Will.
Yeah, oh my god, I cried. I cried. I cried. I keep tearing up every time. Like, especially the scene where he's like, "Don't lie to me, don't lie to me." Like, Honey, don't lie to him. And then when he's talking about losing himself, and his fear is, I don't want to know. I fear not knowing who I am, and the tears in his eyes. I'm like, oh god, poor Will. I can only be silent and silently weeping at those parts of that episode.
Yeah, gosh, it was difficult. It's becoming more difficult to watch, but I think in a good way. Like I always say, it's like you want to look away, but you also don't. It's an immersive experience. You also go through the hallucinations.
Yeah, I mean, I did laugh a lot in this episode as well.
We were literally discussing before recording, how there isn't much comedy in this episode.
Literally not.
It was just like
Fucking laughing.
There was fun parts of it. Excuse me.
Getting his organs pulled out. So funny.
Maybe.
I do like that we all seem to laugh at different things in Hannibal.
Yeah.
I think we've all got very peculiar senses of humour in different ways. So I'm going to start out talking about Dr. Abel Gideon, because we haven't seen him in a little while, and he is back. A lot happens with Abel. But I just want to know your general thoughts on Abel. Like, do you think that he is like just pure psychotic and evil with what he's doing, or do you have any kind of sympathy for what he's going through or through what Chilton has put him through?
Maybe, yes, but also, like, I know being psychotic doesn't have a fucking image, but like he doesn't give those vibes. He genuinely just gives a dude just chilling and just doing shit, and he's like, oh, like, because he's like, oh, but you told me I'm this, and that's what I'm gonna tell everyone. I'm just gonna tell people that you told me that I'm this person, and I'm just gonna go fucking kill people for funsies, tee lol. So maybe there is some sympathy, because, like, you know, you got to be fucked up, and that's not your fault. You were just brought into this world like that. But also, I'm so confused by him. I don't know what I feel. I just feel he was kind of there causing shit. Like, he's a menace, and then, you know, same. I feel that energy, but like he was literally just there.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I do feel sympathy for him, mostly because I do know, like, Dr. Children, but he's so charming. I mean, aren't serial killers charming? I mean, he's not a serial killer, but like, I'd be totally be charmed by him. Yeah, I guess I'm bad at my own survival. I literally will be charmed by a killer. Like, I'd get killed.
We're all secretly Franklin. We're attracted to psychopaths.
Yeah, we all saw the same hairline, and you're saying that was charming.
Yeah, I thought he was quite charming throughout the whole episode, and every episode that he's been in. But yeah, it also doesn't help that Gideon is played by the amazing Susie Izzard, which I also find extremely awesome. But yeah, he was super charming. Even when he was killing, he was charming. Like, how are you charming when you're being an absolute crazy maniac?
I mean, hey, let me not yuck your yum, but also that hairline was questioned. It was disappearing. But, you know,
I don't care about hairlines.
You care about whether they can quite literally rip your organs out.
No, I care about how charming they are.
I'm fine. I think about that. Well,
Okay.
I have a shameless crush on Abel Gideon, so I am unfortunately Team Shaira. I love Abel Gideon, and I do have sympathy for Abel Gideon. I obviously it doesn't excuse what he's doing, or rather, more specifically, it doesn't excuse what he's done that led to him being in the Baltimore State Hospital for the Criminally Insane in the first place. We don't get a whole lot of information on it, other than he was a surgeon, he was fine, and then he killed his wife and everyone at the table.
So when you lot are simping over him, yeah, you're putting yourself into those shoes.
Oh yeah, because you've never simped over Hannibal.
Yeah.
Right, listen, it's different. This man's actually he's wearing a suit, Brev, and can cook.
Bias.
I get
bias.
I get why Hannibal also is charming, but Gideon's charming in his own way.
He's got jokes. He gets emotional when he hears music.
We haven't seen as much of Gideon though. You can't.
Abel's charming. He makes weird jokes.
Yeah.
Right.
He hurts Dr. Chilton, which I'm happy about. Hey, look, Chilton is indestructible, I'm afraid to tell you. The Freds are indestructible. This is a fact of the universe you're going to have to accept. So I do want to give a little bit of a cut dialogue from the script, because in the scene with Gideon in the back of the van, there's a bit more dialogue. On a completely, well, not completely, but on an adjacent note, both Susie Izzard and Lawrence Fishburne, I would say, from comparing the script to the show, are the two who ad-lib/alter lines the most by far. Like Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen tend to say the lines almost word for word. Lawrence Fishburne doesn't. He tends to mix things up a little bit, but it always sounds really good and natural. Susie, on the other hand, often the lines are completely fucking different, which is interesting, but like her little spins on some of the lines have really added to Abel's character, so I assume that was kind of a conscious decision. It's really good.
No wonder I find her character so charming.
Honestly, she does such a good job in this role of slightly transforming the dialogue to make Abel who he is, and that's really cool. But there's also some more information about his wife that's cut out of the script, or rather cut out of the episode. I think 'cause otherwise the conversation would be quite long. But so when he's talking to them about marriage and says it's always easier to kill them, he then goes on to say in the script, "Thank God we didn't have children. I would have never forgiven myself," which is surprisingly human, considering what he did. And then he says, "I'm sure your wife is fantastic. My wife was a horrible woman," or something to that extent. I think it's a little different to what he actually says in the show. What's cut from the script is he then gives this information, which is she once made a poor fashion choice regarding her hair. To avoid embarrassment, she wore a wig and told people she had cancer, and I'm the bad guy. So his wife sounds like a dick.
Fucked up. I thought
it doesn't excuse what he did, but damn.
Did he not have kids?
I don't believe so. I always think there's mention of someone else at the table, but I think it might have been a brother or something.
I thought they said it was like his wife and 3 kids that he killed.
I remember hearing something about 3 kids as well. I can't remember what that is. I'll have to look into it, because I know what you mean. I have that in my head as well. I'm not sure what it's referring to, but I know he definitely kills her family at the table.
Got you, okay.
But I'm not sure how many people exactly. But yeah, so I think there's more to this weird little idea of she drove him to it, which obviously is not a thing. No one drives you to murder.
No, yeah.
Not really.
Not really.
Well, there are some extreme cases of like abuse where it's difficult to imagine it going in any other direction. But his wife just sounds like a dick, not like horrifically abusive, just a twat, which is a little different.
For sure.
So, my next question, which I think I know what the answer is going to be, but we'll ask anyway. Did Dr. Chilton get what was coming to him?
For sure.
Yeah.
That pompous lad got it. Yay.
Why the fuck are you poking around with, like, psychos? Why are you pushing the boundary? Why are you acting like a massive prick? You're going to get your insides literally turned out. And what fucking happened?
Exactly.
Brother was, I don't know if it's like I don't know, like just your average case of being in a position of power, and he was
He's
like,
such a
I'm going to
narcissist.
play around with these people, with these poor mentally ill people, or one dude for a weird obsession. Maybe he's in the closet. Maybe he found him attractive. But that's not how you fucking do it. Like when everyone said, "Oh, they're mean to you because they like you," that's not how you fucking get with someone. You don't fucking bully them and say like, "You're this murderer, so I can have your number."
Leave the recruitment to Hannibal.
So, do you think Chilton has acted unethically, essentially? He's engaged in unethical mechanisms that have resulted in what Abel is doing. The reason he is so forlorn and lost and doing what he's doing is because of what Chilton has done. But we're also kind of, with the whole parallel thing, seeing something similar happening between Will and Hannibal. So, would you say the reason that we get so angry at Chilton and not Hannibal is purely because of Chilton's narcissistic attitude compared to how Hannibal acts? Or is there another reason why we're biased?
Oh, well, Hannibal is... I think Hannibal's quite charming. It doesn't act like so pompous as maybe he does act pompous, but he's not as pompous as Dr. Chilton. It's just this facial kind of movements that Chilton does, so kind of that look irritates me. He makes me want to punch him. No thanks to the actor. The actor's really cool.
This bloody dickhead. No offense. No, I think with him it was like, I mean, it's interesting because arguably you could say they're doing the same thing. They're kind of toying with people, but I suppose we have the whole advantage of Hannibal, like we've been following him this whole time. We've developed a relationship, all of that stuff. We've kind of fallen for his charm in a different way. I think the obnoxious, sort of self-centered way of things is a bit of a different approach in the way that he manipulates people. Like Hannibal's a bit more kind. He like kills people with kindness. It's very subtle.
Oh, I don't think he kills people with kindness.
Well, okay. But yeah, matey over here was literally like, "You're the killer. You're a murderer. Go be him. Go out and kill people." Like, what are you doing? I feel like he lacked class. He lacked a method. He ain't doing it like the pros, and that's why he was holding his fucking kidneys and not Hannibal.
Yeah.
I just want to point out one of my favourite scenes in this whole episode is when Will and Alana walk into Chilton's office and he's looking at a book through a magnifying glass that he clearly doesn't need to. And I think knew they'd come into the hospital because he's posing for them so that he looks really intelligent when they come in. And that's one of the funniest acting decisions I've ever seen.
I told you, he's so pompous.
If he doesn't need to wear glasses or anything, why are you looking at a book with a magnifying glass? But anyway, why is anyone looking at a book with a magnifying glass? What do you gain from this?
Because he probably thinks it makes him look really smart.
It actually makes you look like a fucking twat, because why can you not just bring the book closer to your face?
Why? He doesn't look like a douche.
I love it. I think Raul Esparza is so funny. Also, just a random little factoid because I find it very funny. This has been said in a couple of different interviews. It was at one of the recent anniversary panels, but I know they've said it in the past as well. Both Hugh Dancy and Mads Mikkelsen, when they've been asked if they could play any other character in the show, they both always say Dr. Chilton.
Why?
Oh, really?
I think you'll maybe see more as it goes on.
He does sound like a fun character to play.
I think that's basically it, because he must be the most fun person to play. Raul Esparza is clearly having the time of his life.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
He's like batshit, but without being batshit. He's so out there.
He's such a caricature.
Yeah.
He's very unrealistic, and it's very funny. This next question, much like the Dr. Chilton question, was a little bit aimed at Shaira because I know how much she hates him. This question is very much aimed at Melissa, which is, do you think Alana is flirting too much, given that she rejected Will.
Yes. This motherfucker, right? Look, it's not even about the fact of like, oh, I like, you know, I don't want a relationship, but I'm gonna still flirt with you anyway. My bro, Will, he just wanted a little quick, like, will he get wet? That's all he wanted. He was like, stop complicating it. Don't think about a relationship. I just want to fuck. And she's like, no, because I'll just analyze your brain. And when I'm in a relationship, and he's like, I don't want a relationship. I literally just want to shag right now. Like, why are you going into it? And then all of a sudden, she's just like touching him, coming over, being like, oh, but I want to come and cuddle and do Netflix and chill with your dogs. Fuck right off. Because Netflix and chill means we're going to have penetration or at least cunnilingus or something. Why are you getting all like, you know, up in my, getting me excited? She's not even like tickling his pickle. She's just blue balls in him.
You know, like, I have to agree with you. That bitch better get her hands off Hanny's property.
I mean,
that bitch better get off her hands off him.
Yeah.
I want to disagree, because I think that Alana means well, and I also don't believe that Will is only after sex. I think he's very touch-starved, but I also think because of his empathy, he's actually after something deeper than that.
Okay, fine, but in that moment before, he did.
That's why I do agree with you. I think in this particular episode, she is a bit too much.
She is a bit too much.
Like,
I agree with you in that regard.
Yeah, because if you're not even gonna go there in like at all because of your reasons, that's fine. But then don't mess about with his feelings by like flirting with it. I'm saying this, and I'm a Libra, by the way, and I'm like, don't fuck about with people for the sake of it because it's fun. Like if he was like whatever his intentions were, whatever he wanted, she didn't even let it get to the first step. Like, well, they kissed, but like she didn't even let it get beyond there. What like for a lot of people, when you kiss, like you feel something, and then sometimes you can kind of like it's hard to shake off because you've gone to that next level of like actually like making out with someone. So for him, he's probably thinking like, oh, like, are we going to? Are we not going to? She said no, but she keeps like flirting with me. So it's a bit of a piss take. Like, fucking leave the guy alone. His brain is enlarged.
Yeah, he needs a thinker. Like, you're not helping. You're not helping.
Yeah. As I say, I do love Alana, and I'm generally Team Alana, but I think she's pushing it a little bit too far.
Yeah, I'm Team Alana, but this episode was like, Alana, what the fuck are you doing?
Like, literal smash, I would, babe. But, like, if a man is saying no, just let him be. I mean, if you're saying no, just back off. Like, make a decision.
Pick a lane.
Yeah.
Pick a lane.
And hope it's mine.
Take a step back a moment and go into the food zone. I don't know why I called it that.
Pani puri! Pani puri!
Yeah, Shaira has never been so fucking excited
I'm
over
so
a meal.
happy that pani puri. There's pani puri in it. I love pani puri. Pani puri is one of my favourite foods.
And it looks good as well.
Gorgeous. And there was so many samosas. I'm not sure if they're that lentil fritters or aubergines. Oh, that's aubergines. Oh my god.
Yes, the baby aubergines, which I've never seen before.
This is all of the food that I make. We make in my household. We make fried aubergines. We make those samosas. We make lentil fritters. We make pani puri. Oh, we make all of these good foods. And I was so happy to see all of this.
I'm searching baby aubergine. I'm back in my office.
Well, if you look in the in our general chat, I've got photos of all of the meals. Unfortunately, in the episode, you only really see the main meal because the sides in this, especially one of the big side plates, looks amazing.
I'm surprised there's not white aubergines because that's much fancier, and it's like an homage to it being why it's called an eggplant. But yeah,
white aubergines would be very cool. They're very pretty looking.
They'll be very pretty looking.
Yeah, I didn't know you could get baby aubergines in Asda or Sainsbury's.
Yeah,
Me neither.
Sainsbury's £1.60, Asda £2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
£2 fucking pounds.
Do you know what I mean?
I love aubergines.
I wish I liked them more than I do, but I think the texture is super cool. I like preparing them. I love cutting them.
When I make my bento boxes, I always buy up some aubergines and put them in there.
Yeah, I could probably drink aubergines, like inhale them. Actually, I fucking love aubergine. I was very lucky. I was brought up eating a lot of aubergine.
Very nice.
Mm.
So this dish, the main dish, which is the kudal with the pani puri, it underwent many fucking changes. So originally it was a Spanish sheep intestine dish, but then they said the last episode had Spanish cuisine, so they shouldn't do Spanish a second time. So
Valid.
then Janice Poon did sheep intestines with a dashi broth and daikon, which Brian Fuller really liked. Then at one point it was a Chinese herbal soup.
Oh,
But
wow.
this scene was actually shot last because Raul Esparza was filming an episode of Law and Order at the time, because this was back when he was in Law and Order. So there were scheduling delays. So eventually, Janice Poon, all this information is from her blog, by the way, which is amazing. But she ended up suggesting curry because they hadn't done South Asian yet. Yeah.
The fucking like pandan leaf. Well, it looks like pandan leaf. It probably isn't.
It's
The banana leaf. Sorry,
Yeah.
the banana leaf
banana
around
leaves.
the yellow thing. Yeah, is the big one a banana leaf as well?
I think they're all banana leaf, yeah.
Really? Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like it. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I'll put all these images in our notes as well, but in the last image with the cauliflower, that's also a banana flower on the side.
Oh,
which
I love
is
banana
so
flower.
Cool. I love how they look. So she did kudal, which is a coconutty sheep gut curry. However, those are not intestines in her dish. It's actually pasta. She cheated.
I was going to say, it does look like pasta.
Yeah, she
it
cut
looks like
up pasta to just make it look a bit intestine in the shots.
I thought it was cauliflower at first.
But apparently, staff on set didn't want to try it because they thought it looked like intestines, even though it was pasta. The
That's
wince.
funny.
It looks
wince.
so good. I would eat that.
Oh, exactly.
So it's kudal served on banana leaf.
Wait, they
and
have
then...
intestines in for sausages, don't they?
Sorry, say that again?
Don't they have intestines for sausages?
Yeah, why are people weird about sausages?
Yeah.
Or aren't weird about them, rather. It's literally intestinal casing.
Yeah.
But then people see that and they're like, what?
It's because it's just in a different form that you're not used to. That's literally all it is.
Yeah, we're so
That's
accustomed to it, we don't think about what it is, which is so silly. And this is why people should be more open-minded about food.
Yes.
The pani puri, you can see, is red inside because it's got pomegranate in it, which is interesting. There's also on that plate, the big purple things are purple sweet potato crisps. Which sound good. Then on that big side plate, you've got baby samosas, bindi bhaji, then ladyfingers, baby eggplant, and slivered onions. And then last of all are the cauliflowered brains. One's rubbed with cumin and one is rubbed with tandoori spices, which is why they've got the cool colours. They look so fun. And yeah, that's the food.
Yeah.
What's the flowers? What did you say was the flowers? The
last plate with the banana flower, and then you've got 2 cauliflowers.
Yes.
Yeah, is all of it just banana flower, like the decorative bit?
I think all the bits around the cauliflower or banana leaf and stuff, I think.
Oh, nice.
And then the massive banana flower looking super cool.
Courgette flower is really nice.
Yeah, I've seen courgette flowers. They're pretty. I've never eaten them. You can deep fry them, can't you? I think.
You can, yes.
We make how you make how we make stuffed vine leaves. You can make we also do it with bell peppers, where you put the rice inside the bell pepper. So you cut out the top bit where the fork is, stuff it with rice and put it in a pot to steam it. Similarly to that, you get the courgette flour and you stuff that with rice and eat it. It's really nice.
Yeah, we do something different. We batter the courgette flour and then batter the pepper and
I've done meat stuffed bell peppers before. We bacon full of meat.
Meat.
Food.
Food good.
So moving on to poor Will. This is one of those questions, like all of our questions about Will at the moment, which is going to be the case until the series ends. Kind of vague, understandable if you don't have many thoughts, because it's all a bit. But how do you foresee Will dealing with what is happening to him going forward? Do you think he's gotten to a point of being kind of too broken now?
It's so broken.
I don't know. Because it's hard to tell without knowing specifics. I feel like, to us it seems really fucking insanely serious. However, like to a psychologist or like a brain doctor, I don't know terms, like they might be like it's still salvageable, like he can still, you know, have medication or treatment or whatever and be perfectly fine back to normal. But it is concerning that, like, I kept saying it when we were rewatching it, like, why is nobody noticing? Like, surely there's got to be a point where people start looking and turning heads. I mean, Jack, like, sometimes glances over at him and he's like, I want to intervene, but then I don't want to lose my best man on the force. And that's really pissed me off that narrative is still getting in the way of him, like, because other times he would be like, you know, I need you to be okay. And he shows that he does care. So it's like, where is that energy?
Yeah. Yeah, he tells him in this episode, like, to try and block it out. Like, he's trying to give him advice on how to cope with it. And it's like, you can see something's wrong. Why are you trying to tell him to steal and push through it instead of being like, okay, this isn't okay?
Yeah. Stealing himself. I feel like he's unfortunately he's going to get worse before he gets better. I think he's killed Abel. Once he realizes he's killed Abel, he's going to start seeing Abel. I mean, I wouldn't be mind seeing Abel if I was hallucinating because, you know, Abel's charming and cute. Oh God, there's going to be so many deaths. There's going to be like a couple of deaths on his mind. It's going to cause him a bit more trouble. Maybe you keep seeing Gouchick or Hobbs and Abel, but yeah, he's going to have a bad time. And I hope the boy gets some respite.
Yeah.
God damn.
At least he's in hospital now.
Finally, maybe
And
we'll find out
something.
Yeah, what is this going to do for his, like, hallucination of Garrett Jacob Hobbs? Because remember, Hannibal said that he should go, like, you've killed him once, there should be no issue of killing him again, which was to try and get him to kill Abel, of course. So, like, will this actually, like, help his hallucinations in a way? Like, will he have think like, oh, I've killed Garrett Jacob Hobbs now, like, I'm not going to hallucinate him again, but is it just going to get worse? Is he just going to keep seeing him? Like, I want to see how that plays out, really.
Is it going to be a replacement? Is it going to be replaced by an image of Gideon now?
Yeah, that's a good point, potentially.
So on the topic of Will and Abel, so we get a lot of parallels between them in this episode because the episode is focused on Abel Gideon having a crisis of identity because what Chilton has done to him with the psychic driving. And Will is essentially going through the same thing. He's also having a crisis of identity because he's seeing the person he also kind of thinks he is. He's basically pursuing himself. Mm-hmm. So, do you have any thoughts on the whole Will and Gideon thing and their different crises of identity?
I'm so mad at... I'm actually starting to be really so mad at Hannibal.
Finally!
Like, damn it, give that boy a break! And, like, you said earlier, like, why am I giving Hannibal a pass and not Children? Yeah, Hannibal was charming, but damn, he's pushing way too far. I didn't like Children from like I don't like what Children's doing to Gideon, but I just don't like Children because he's so out there. But yeah, Hannibal, god damn it. Also regarding kind of like the two identities, it's two sides of the same coin. I think it's just trying to show. Like, I think that could have helped him in a way if he didn't kill Gideon, and it could have been like almost a reflection of himself. You go, oh, if he kind of like looked at it, that like, oh, Gideon was manipulated by his psychiatrist. Why wouldn't I be? But I guess that's Hannibal's kind of manipulation of trying not to get him to think that. Sorry, my brain's a bit out of it.
That's fine.
No, I completely agree. I think Will is in a place where his state of his oh, bear with me 2 seconds, cats are fighting. Literally. What were we talking about? Yes, Will
and Abel, yeah.
Yes, and the identity thing. Yes, I think Will has gotten to a point where, with the condition of his brain and his health, to the point that he is so malleable, so that like I think anything that Hannibal is telling him or anything around people around him are speaking to him when he's sort of like having an episode of some sort, he is like so susceptible. And I think Hannibal is kind of instigating a sort of identity crisis in him by the things that he says. And I think the words that he says are very calculated, just being like, oh, do you remember who you are? Do you remember what you're doing? Like, those kind of things are just so normal and innocent to like ask someone. So then if he did get questioned, he can be like, I was just trying to help him. Yeah. But actually that's like reverse psychology. Of course that's going to make him fuck up. Like, and he's also telling him that he doesn't see anyone there, let alone the fact that someone is actually there. It's just not who he's seeing. So I whether Will is actually having an identity crisis, I would argue maybe he is now, but it wasn't instigated by his own psychology, I don't think. I think it's everyone, well, Hannibal sort of manipulating him.
I think given everything else going on and with the sort of prolonged encephalitis, I think that's a very good hypothesis.
Yeah, it was like, wait, it was waiting.
Trouble saying that word.
No, like, it's a long word. I think he put his Play-Doh out to get warm and now he's playing around with it. Now it's more malleable.
There's a couple of lines in this episode that are part of the whole identity crisis thing that I always got a little confused by as to who Will is hearing. So at the end, when Will and Abel are standing together before Will shoots Abel Gideon, they're having a conversation, and Will asks Gideon something like, "Who are you now?" And he looks like Hobbs and says, "Now I'm you." And then he also says, "I wonder if then you could finally understand who you've become." And I never knew if that was meant to be something Abel Gideon was saying, but Will was seeing Hobbs, or if Will is imagining that dialogue, because it doesn't fit with what else Gideon is saying.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was confused about as well. Yeah,
so I looked at the script, and in the script, it says Garrett Jacob Hobbs. It does not say Abel Gideon. So I'm not 100%, but I think Will is imagining him saying that to him.
Saying it like that does make it fit in and make a lot more sense, to be fair.
Yeah, and Abel Gideon's completely saying something completely different.
Yeah. Gideon's off his own identity thing with Alana.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that's kind of horrifying, but interesting. So yeah, Will is full on imagining that Hobbs is telling him that they are one and the same, which is quite scary.
Oof.
Yeah. William. So, as you mentioned, Abel Gideon, I only have one other piece of trivia today. Or technically it's the only piece of trivia. Which is Abel Gideon performs a Colombian necktie.
Yeah.
So obviously I had to look up what a Colombian necktie is, other than what we see, which of course is a tongue through the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, normally when I do research, I use like Wikipedia, various different articles, and I fumble a bunch of stuff together to explain something. For this, I am just going to outright read what Wikipedia says, because it explains it so succinctly I didn't want to change it.
Okay.
So, it first appeared in Colombia during the period known as La Violencia. Mm-hmm. Violence, I assume. I don't actually know why I say that means the violence. Which was 1948 to 1958, as a method of psychological warfare designed to scare and intimidate. It was one of several documented types of public mutilation in the conflict used to terrorize people away from their land. Others included killing a pregnant woman, extracting the fetus, and placing it on her body and replacing it with a rooster.
What the fuck?
Stuffing the genitals of dead men into their mouths.
Oh my god.
And the flower vase cut, where the victim's limbs were cut off and stuffed into their torso.
Oh my god.
Which is a little bit similar to Chilton being used like a fruit basket with organs.
Yeah, that is.
that wasn't in Wikipedia. The last thing that I thought was interesting on the Wikipedia article was during the O.J. Simpson murder case, defense lawyers claimed that hitmen hired by drug dealers gave Nicole Brown Simpson a Colombian necktie, but that was barred from testimony because there was no supporting evidence for it. So that is a real thing that was done along with various other very, very scary things in Colombia.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Humans are capable of very atrocious things.
Yeah, like simping over a man that has a terrible hairline.
You leave his hairline
You leave him alone.
He's got a good silly goatee. What about that?
Can someone else back me up? Anyone that's listening?
No, listeners are banned from criticising Abel Gideon's hairline.
Exactly.
No, that Abel is not attractive in any way, shape, or fucking form. Thank you very much. I will be looking forward to seeing the support on my end.
Fight me on Twitter.
He's extremely charming. Yeah, I'm gonna back Felix up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Right, we are the Abel Gideon.
It's 2 against 1. It's 2 against 1. Please help me.
Bullying.
Bully.
This is the Abel Gideon peer pressure club. So, let's move on to Hannibal, shall we?
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah,
that one. So, Will goes to Hannibal because he's the only person who might understand what he's going through. The script kind of alludes to that as well. I can't remember the specific line, but it kind of confirms the reason he goes to Hannibal's house with Abel Gideon is because he's the only person he can turn to. We see Hannibal acting both caring and callous to Will here. Like, he's being a doctor. He's legitimately being a doctor, and he's checking his fever and checking for seizures. And also, he's playing his paddle psychiatrist role, and I would say seems genuine to Will as much as he can because he's playing a role in manipulation. But he's also, for the first time, we see him callous towards Will. Which, of course, along with my favourite line, when he mentions that he's had a mild seizure, and Abel Gideon says, "You don't seem to be too bothered about that," and he says, "I said it was mild."
Yeah.
Like a little bitch. But it's so funny. So well performed. So, having seen that side of Hannibal now, and knowing everything that he's doing, the question I've been asking a lot the last few episodes, do you think his intentions for friendship are still true and genuine on some level, or has he gone too far for that to be the case now?
Yeah, nah. I've
too far.
Yeah, I've been on that hill for a while. Maybe like halfway through what we've watched so far, I've been kind of on the bandwagon of like, yeah, no, there's still kind of like I always said, there's an underlying layer of he's never gonna really be someone that you can trust, or that anything that he does is not genuine. He just has his own motivations.
Yeah, you have. Yeah, you've been very solid in the he's being manipulative. He's clearly he's serving himself thing.
He's cunty as fuck, but he's a bitch.
Yeah, he's cunty as fuck, but he's a bitch. Agreed. He's gone too far. Is the way to gone too far. I think he said it himself to Dr. Children. You can't let the subject know that you're manipulating them.
Yeah, when he's talking about Gideon, he's clearly also talking about Will.
Yeah.
Like, you clearly don't have, like, a genuine friendship. Like, maybe there's kind of friendship in your eyes, but to you, it's, like, a subject. And, like, maybe it's, like, it's a friendship in your eyes, but it's not the kind of friendship that is true. It's more of like you've made something. He's essentially manipulated himself into thinking he's developing a friendship, but he's not. He's just playing. He's just toying with his subject. He's making Will's life miserable, and I think he's gone way too far.
Yeah, he's playing the part of what it would be like for an average human to have a friendship or make a friend.
Almost like he's wearing a person suit.
Yeah.
Person suit.
I have opinions, but I will leave them until the end because they tie in with my favourite quote.
Okay.
So I will let you know my thoughts on that then. Just to be different, just to be a little bitch. So, last question, just because it ties in with it, and it's one of the most interesting to me, and I think we can only kind of guess at it, but it's interesting, which is, what do you think Hannibal's intentions were when he led Abel Gideon to Alana and then Will to Abel Gideon?
I think he just wanted someone to do the work for him so he could have some protein for the next month. I think he I think he wanted a day off and was like, nah, I'm getting too. I wonder if he was like, me doing the shit is getting too close to the fan and I need to stock up on some meat but do it on the sly. I don't know. I'm just trying shit. I genuinely think he just went and mind manipulated Will to go and kill Abel so he could have some meat.
Yeah, I think you're on the right lines. I think he like I think Will said it earlier as well. It's like the Chesapeake Ripper found it rude. He wants to kill the impersonator. So he's, instead of doing it himself, in a stupid power play, he sent one of his cannibal family members.
Mm. Or maybe he just wanted to, for whatever reason, for purely mind fucking and playing with his food or toys or whatever. Maybe he just sent Will to kill Abel to see if that helped him with his hallucinations of Garrett Jacob Hobbs, like we were saying before. Maybe he's just doing this as like a little fun tiki experiment for him just to see what happens, and he's like, oh, fascinating, playing with my toy.
There is, you're right. There's multiple.
His toy boy, if you will.
Heyo. Heyo. Yeah, there's multiple layers to this. Clearly, Hannibal is smart, and he's doing like multiple stones with multiple birds with one stone. So he's manipulating Will. He's screwing up Will more. He's hurting Alana. He's also taking out the person that impersonated him and who was rude to him, who he finds rude. Yeah, absolutely agree.
So we've seen before where he's manipulated something into happening and not necessarily been able to predict the outcome, when he sent Will after Tobias Budge and then was worried he might have gotten hurt. Generally, we've seen his attitude towards Alana has always been very positive and flirtatious and close, and they've known each other for a very long time as well. So, do you think he did this knowing that it could have gone tits up and he was potentially also hurting Alana? Do you think he has any kind of remorse in that, or do you think he doesn't care if Alana gets killed?
I think he could have some remorse, but no, I think he's playing his pawns. Because if he did care that Alana could possibly be killed, he wouldn't put Gideon onto Alana.
I'm just forever on the hill of like, he literally just doesn't give a fuck about anyone. Like, why would he? Why would he need to? He's someone that eats people. He is a criminal that has been getting away with this. He is like, he's got a disguise. He's got a character that he has created. Like, why the fuck would he be able to have any kind of like emotional connections in any kind of form? Because I feel like if he did, it would make what he does harder. And I think that's why he makes sure that he doesn't get into those situations, because then he can't do what he really wants to do, which is his true love, which is eating people.
Yeah, he's manipulating himself and wearing his person suit in those scenes where he seemed genuine, but no, he's not.
If it was legal to eat humans, then he would be able to maybe potentially allow himself to get into emotional relationships. I think it's even like psychological manipulation on himself that he's not allowing himself to get into that. Maybe he got hurt and that's why he doesn't. Maybe that's why he eats people. Someone hurt him and he's like, fuck everybody, I'm going to eat them instead.
So two very interesting things there. One, you made it sound like you believe that maybe his desire to eat people is his motivation. So not necessarily killing or harming people, but eating people.
Yeah.
But then you also suggested that maybe the reason he kills and eats people is because of a triggering traumatic event.
Mabes, everyone has an origin story.
Yeah.
Oh no, I completely agree. I know too much.
Spoilers.
Oh, you wish it was spoilers. That's all I'll say about that. Pain in the ass fucking show. I think they're two very interesting things. I wouldn't personally say that cannibalism is his motivation. I would say that because of the way that he sees people, that the people he kills are below him and not equal to him, is that cannibalism is less a motivation. Not that he feels like he needs to eat people, but it's just another level to degrade people. It's not just killing someone. It's demeaning their body in that way. And I could be wrong. This is a theory.
They're meat suits to him.
It could also be both. I don't know. I mean, he's a chef. It could taste really fucking good compared to everything else.
Yeah, it could be. Apparently pork tastes really good, and I don't know. And pork is.
I really like pork. Is my favourite meat.
Pork is very similar to people, apparently. So
Well,
I don't know, unfortunately.
I only know one of those and not the other.
Honestly, Shaira, like I didn't try it until I was like 13 or 14, and I think it's okay. I do also enjoy it, and I think it's very good in the sense that it's something that is a lot cheaper than like chicken or beef or lamb or anything like that, because those are the most expensive. So for a lot of families, like pork is really affordable, and you can do so much to it to make it a lot more of an interesting meal, or do a lot, like you can get like really cheap cuts of pork because the meat itself is really cheap anyway. Cool. And then you can do a lot like with it. You can make yourself a fancy meal like at home, like inspired by something that you probably wouldn't be able to afford to go out and get. Yeah. So in that regard, like I think it's very good.
Yeah.
However, I also think that like when it's prepared in certain ways, like cooked in certain ways, like of course, like in a lot of different Asian dishes, like Japanese and Korean and other things that I've tried, like I think those are like some incredible ways to prepare it. So then when I can't do that, I get upset, and then the only way I can do it is if I spend like fucking 50 quid in a nice restaurant, and I'm like, I can't do that all the time. So
yeah.
So then the things that you can have at home, I'm just like, it's okay. And like I've had some things where I've had like gammon it's gammon, but it's not gammon, but it's called bacon, but it's not that kind of bacon. And I got really confused about it once, and I was sat there for like 20 minutes being like, so this is bacon, but not bacon, but it's also not gammon, but it looks like gammon, but it's not bacon. I was so confused. It's so salty in those kind of ways. Yeah, it's. I think when it's prepared really well, and there are loads of different creative ways to do that, it's great. However, my thing is I just want it in certain ways that I can't afford to do, and I can't make myself yet, if that makes sense.
I think you made me realise one of the reasons I like it is because I hadn't really made this connection, but it's the meat I mostly ate growing up because it is cheap. Yeah.
It's really affordable. Yeah.
Would we like to go on to our ending bits?
Yeah.
So Melissa went first last time, so it's Shaira's turn.
Go, Shaira.
So honourable mentions for my favourite quote. That's the first one. What kind of crazy are you? I like that, and especially when with hallucinating Jack screaming it at Will, and then Will saying, "Gave you something better." He gave you something better to do with your tongue than oh god, I forgot the whole quote. Gave you something better than wag it, yeah. And then my favorite quote is literally, we mentioned it earlier, is I said it was mild.
You said it was mild.
I said it was mild. It's like, yes, that made me laugh. Like, oh, you charming. Like he's charming, I want to hate him, but at the same time, he just has those one-liners that just like, oh my god, that's hilarious. Favorite moment, and before it got into the cutting and stuff like that, it's just seeing both Freddie is scared and Frederick scared. It's like, yes, you got what you deserve. And Gideon being super charming then. Before they were cut up and stuff, before the whole organ basket, like, yeah. Before that, before anything started, yeah, that was my favorite moment. Just seeing them both scared and getting what they deserve. Episode predict. I think the doctors are gonna find that Will has that disease. I've got the name of it.
Encephalitis.
Encephalitis, and I think he's going to
Iridocyclitis.
Iridocyclitis. I think he's going to get the help that he needs. Hannibal's going to be upset about that, or he's going to, he's going to find a way to absolve himself of any, saying, "Oh, I don't know. That doctor was lying to me too." And then obviously I need to think like Hannibal's going to Hannibal's going to continue trying to manipulate Will into his Hannibal cannibal family.
Of course.
And yep, that's my prediction.
Hello.
Over to you.
Clap, 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 clap. Hello. I did say I didn't have a favourite quote, but I do think I said it was mild. It's pretty fucking ridiculous.
It was good. Good
boy, it's still a seizure. Favourite moment? I had 2 written down. Where are my notes gone? Will hallucinating with antlers is what I wrote down. I thought that was really fucking cool. Cinematography.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, really, really cool. Really eerie. Really ghost-like. Yeah, and the way that like Jack slowly starts to like direct his speech, whatever you want to call it, at Will, and starts shouting at him, gets more aggressive, and everything's in slow motion. It's very, very well done. I felt like, especially like, throw it back 10 years ago, I feel like that would have really been even more spooky. Like I feel like it's so tasteful, the whole show, even now, like everything works really well. So having seen it at the time of it actually being aired, I think would have been like something really special.
It was considered very beautiful at the time.
Yeah,
and
really cool. And it still is now. Like I feel like, and back of the truck, with no hairline having bastard, where he's like, yeah, literally, where he's like, I'm dying on till, where he's like, oh. You got wife, I find it easy to just what's it called? Kick him in, like just kill him. It's easier. And I'm like, it was just a very funny, like, I don't know. I thought it was very funny, where he's just sitting there like
as charming.
No, not charming. Fucking disgustingly, weirdly disturbing.
It was weirdly chill about it.
Yeah, it's just like very. Kind of, it was almost like it was trying to be a comedy at that moment, like a bit of a really cheesy slapstick comedy almost, of just like, oh, just kill your wife. It's so much easier. Like, can you imagine him as like an East London geezer? you got a missus? Yeah, fuck that. Just fucking kill her off, babe. Down the bins. Like, can you imagine? That would have been so wild. But yeah, those are my favourite moments. And predictions, I said it last week. I think the same thing. It's more, I hope that someone clocks what's happening with Will and actually gets the fact that, oh my God, there is something happening. But then I feel like if that was to happen, then some eyes would turn to Hannibal, because then they'd be like, well, you said everything was fine. You went and got taken to scene 2, and you lot said there's absolutely nothing going on, so why is it now that we're going to another doctor and they're like, no, fuck, his brain is literally engorged. So I don't think that's going to happen, but that's what I wish to happen. I think that Will's hallucination of Garrett Jacob Hobbs is not going to go away. I think that would be too much of an easy way out, and yeah, I think that it's going to come back at some form. Whether it happens right away or not, I don't know. But I think it will come back. And gay sex in some form or another.
With Hannibal and Will now?
I was going to say, it's getting a little bit scary, that gay sex now, isn't it?
Just gay sex, I don't know. Anywhere.
Some people will turn up, someone will deliver.
Homosexuality. Activity. Happening.
The pornographic spin-off to Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, that's what we need. And that's what I think.
Wunderbar. So my favourite quote is a bit of a long one because it's actually a whole segment of conversation and brings us back to Hannibal and the concept of friendship.
Yeah.
So, I do believe that Hannibal sees friendship in Will.
Boo him. He's a fucking monster.
I also think that what he's doing is fucking horrific and he doesn't deserve said friendship. But I think that Hannibal is fucked up to the extent that he can believe that what he's doing could lead to friendship when what he's doing is awful, because that's how awful he is. So my favourite quote is part of his conversation with Bedelia at the end, which in the script isn't actually in this episode. In the script, it's the start of the next episode. But I think they made a good decision. I think it fits in with the flow of this episode much better. It's a nice little way to end it, yeah. It's like a nice little diversion from everything that's happened, a little break. So if I were to isolate just one line, it would be the first line of this segment, which is Hannibal saying, "I see his madness and I want to contain it like an oil spill." Because, ooh, that's a good line.
That's a good line.
But then this whole little segment of conversation where Bedelia then says, "Oil is valuable. What value does Will Graham's madness have for you?" And he says, "You're suggesting I'm more fascinated with the madness than the man." She says, "Are you?" And he says, "No. Will realised early on that he saw things differently than other people, felt things differently." Bedelia says, "So did you." And Hannibal says, "I see myself in Will. And I believe he's telling the truth." So fuck you. Again, it doesn't excuse anything he's doing. But I think that's the weird multi-layered level of his mind, is that he sees something in Will that reflects him. My favourite moment kind of contradicts that, because my favourite moment is Hannibal's direct manipulation of Will in the dining room. This is one of the rare examples where he outright lies to Will when he says that Will is hallucinating Hobbs. That's true, but he says there's no one there. That's not true. That's normally, no matter what Hannibal's doing, he doesn't tend to lie very often. He's normally a bit more coy than that. So there's only one little lie, otherwise he's being mostly truthful. And then he leaves the gun on the table in Will's direct line of sight and says, "You killed Garrett Jacob Hobbs once, you could find a way to kill him again."
So much manipulation.
Then he says he's going to Alana, and then he places his car keys on the table beside the gun and leaves the room so that Will can access them. It's so in your face awful, and Will is too vulnerable to see what he's doing, and it's so sad and frustrating, but I love it so much. It's so horrible.
It's so horrible. Made me cry.
Yeah.
But I just love how it's like the most frank, outright manipulation, and because Will is in the condition he's in, he's able to do that. He's like, "You're ill. I can be really fucking obvious."
That's what I mean. His brain is Play-Doh. He got it warm and now he's messing about with it. He's mixing the colours of the Play-Doh now.
He's literally just said to Will, "Go kill him. Off you go."
Yeah.
I also love the way he just puts his phone away and takes his coat back off again when he comes back out.
Yeah.
I'm going to very quickly grab it. There is a line in the script after that happens that I remember finding very satisfying. I'm going to quickly grab it. Yeah, Will stands, puts it back down, blah, blah, blah. He says you're in no state to go anywhere, blah, blah, blah. He comes back, and then it says Hannibal exits and returns with the telephone dialing, but Will is already gone. Hannibal hangs up the phone, content. He's just so pleased with himself.
So pleased with himself.
Little
after
shit.
Manipulating his boyfriend.
Yeah, it's like, I did what I wanted to do. I'm happy. I can go chill now. Just let them get on with it. So, my next episode prediction is that everything gets better for Will and nothing bad happens to him ever again.
Right.
Yay!
That's a prediction. That doesn't mean that it's right.
Tell you, I'm always right. We've discussed this.
Okay.
Are you ready for my sign off, the little teaser for the next episode?
Oh, ready.
Give me.
My teaser for next week is, we see a familiar face, and she's looking hot. Smoking hot, even. Fate and Circumstance is an independent podcast brought to you by Felix Fanfaron Fern, Melisa Suzan, and Shaira Bambi. You can find and follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at HannibalPod. We are fans of the show NBC's Hannibal and do not own the rights to any of the materials discussed, merely appreciators. The music used in this podcast is Tchaikovsky's Op. No. 40 Waltz by Kevin MacLeod, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 4.0 license. Thanks for listening.